let's take a look at grid mode. Grid mode is going to allow us to do a lot of great things, but in order to use it effectively, we have to go to grid, and then we have to go to our counter and switch to bars and beats. Now, grid mode is really only effective if the original audio was recorded to tempo, meaning you know it's at a certain BPM and it's utilizing preferably a click, or it's loops that are matched to the tempo of the session. So like if you bring in loops, you have to make sure that whatever those loop tempos are match the session in order for bars and beats to work. So as soon as we have all that stuff established, we're in a really good space for being able to use the grid mode because it's fantastic. So I'm going to roll this song that I wrote last spring called Won't You Come Back to Me. Take a listen. We're going to move around and maneuver some things that need to be edited. So let's take a look.
Tell you I'm sorry for all I should have done, but it won't bring you back. Heavy waters breaching from my lungs, but I know you don't care about that. Won't you come back to me? Drive a car through the dark, let our loving restart. Can you meet me in between? Won't you come back to me? Let's get caught in the rain, watch the sunset again. Can you meet me in between? Won't you come back to me? Years up.
So some really easy things we can do that bars and beats allow us to do with grid mode is, first of all, grid mode is going to show us a grid on screen provided that a couple things are set up. One of those things is at the very top here, we actually have to have this grid light active, and we choose the value of the grid right here. So if we only want to see the grid show us every measure, every bar, it's really, we can switch it out so it really gives us that broad view. If we want to see all the way down to 64th notes, we need to switch it here so we can see that resolution, because what's going to happen is when we switch to grid mode, it will only allow us to use our tools in terms of grid spacings that time align on the grid. So this can be very beneficial for a couple things. One of the easy things right now I'm actually going to do is I want to move some stuff from verse to chorus and in between. So we need to establish some quick markers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find, by just kind of hitting up in the ruler or anywhere down below, where's the start of the first verse. So let me push play.
Tell you.
Okay, great. So I'm actually on my keyboard, I'm going to hit the function button plus return, which really makes enter, and that's going to set a memory location. So function plus return. Now I'm going to say, all right, this is verse 1. Great. And now you're going to see marker for verse 1. I'm going to skip ahead because I can see it. What's this over here? Oh, that's verse 2. Let's find the chorus. Won't you, so that's my chorus. And this is chorus 1. So I'm going to set that up, chorus 1, and then I can see right here clearly, again, function return. And this is verse 2. So now we have verse 1, chorus 1, verse 2, and we see these are aligning right on the grid. Well, a couple things. Let's say I decided, okay, you know, the snare drum is just a loop. It's a loop from a session I did at the Palms. So I had a drummer come in and play, you know, this brush snare at the studio at the Palms back in 2018. And I tend to use this from session to session every now and then if I want that like feel or that vibe. But let's just say, you know what, I don't want it in the verse. So I'm going to highlight it. So I'm using grid mode. I'm using grid mode in one bar. I'm going to highlight between my verse and my chorus. And if I look up top, at the very top here, I'll see that the length of that selection is 16 bars. That's what that 16 bars means. I'm going to hit delete. And now if I start the song,
Tell you I'm sorry for all I should have done, but it won't bring you back.
so if I listen to that, I kind of notice that it's okay, so it's a little too bare, so maybe that wasn't what I wanted. But what if I switch the arrangement around? Okay, so I kind of like that. I'm realizing, though, the bass guitar doesn't really fit in there very well. Again, I'm going to let the bass guitar also be omitted for the first verse. We're going to save it for the chorus. Maybe actually what I might want to do is get a little bit more chill with this. Let's go ahead and eliminate. I'm going to highlight a bunch of tracks. Let's get those all out. Let's go to piano only and vocal for that opening section. Let's see what that's like from the verse.
Tell you I'm sorry for all I should have done, but it won't bring you back. Heavy waters breaching from my lungs, but I know you don't care about that. Won't you come back?
Now, realizing if I do it that way, it's going to get it's just way too big at the first chorus. So let's try that transition and take out a few things. Again, I'm still using grid mode.
Won't you come back to me? Drive a car through the dark, let our loving restart. Can you meet me in between? Won't you come back to me? Let's get caught in the rain, watch the sunset again. Can you meet me in between? Won't you come back to me? Years of drowning, each fire that we start, but I know this isn't how it ends.
Okay, so, that's established pretty well. Last thing I want to show you, which I don't know if the initial print from the snare drum exists in this session still, so let me see if it does. So right now we're on 0522. Oh yeah, here it is. So one of the other wacky, wonderful just benefits that you really get from the grid is the ability to loop stuff back and forth and over and over. And so what I initially did when I built the snare is the snare was from a different session at a different tempo, and I basically just brought it in and copy pasted until and looped it so that it flowed. And so really what I could do, just another wonderful benefit of the grid is if I want to take any 8-bar section, I can copy and paste it and create a whole other section down here. And just by hitting Command D, I can duplicate that for 4 bars. And if you know what, maybe I want to reprise at the end here, and I want to pick out some really cool piano sections. I really liked it's verse 1, part B. So let me find that. And I'm going to copy paste that down here, find out what bar and grid we're on. And there's one other thing happening over here. I don't remember what this is. Let's go find this. Some sort of guitar. So I'm going to go steal this and drop this with my friends over here, see if we can get it to fit. Oh, it's because it's snagged from the chorus phrase, so I could always steal that. So that's what we'll do is we'll take this.
To meet you, come back.
So I'm actually just going to drag and slide this to a line. You know, so some just really easy uses with the grid that allow us to kind of maneuver things back and forth. So the grid really keeps us focused in that lane.